So there's some interesting news here about there's a recent poll just done, and it's about is young voters between 18 and 34 and who their preference is to be the next president of the United States. And what we have right now is Donald Trump at 27% amongst voters between 18 and 34. We have Joe Biden at 32% and RFK Jr. at 38%. Now, a lot of people think that RFK Jr. is going to take votes away from Donald Trump. And that is true. He is going to convert some Republicans, especially non-MAGA Republicans, over to voting independent. But trust me when I say this, he will absolutely take votes away from Joe Biden. And this is not proof the vote hasn't happened yet. And we're still a year away from the election. But that being said, 38%, it's likely he's likely to gain steam on that. And who do young people, generally speaking, vote for? The Liberal Party, or the party that they think is liberal, which is not the Democrats, but they think it's the Democrats, so that's what they vote for. He's clearly taking away support from Biden. He will take, maybe he might even take even more votes from Trump than Biden. He might hurt Trump more than Biden, but he is going to hurt both parties. The fact that young people like what he has to say, there's also a lot of people of color who supported his dad and his uncle in the 60s. They like what he has to say. Well, who do people of color generally vote for? Democrats. He's going to take some of those votes too. That being said, Donald Trump, I believe he got 20% of the African American vote in the last election. His numbers could also go up, but RFK Jr. might take those votes from him because they might want to give RFK Jr. a chance. We've seen 4 years of Trump. Did some things that were okay. He did the First Step program, opportunity zones, the economy was doing well, didn't start any new wars. All those things are good. But I think RFK Jr. is even better on a lot of issues. I think the middle class will start thriving more. Young people understand that the middle class is disappearing. By the time they're 40, they want to own a house. Hopefully before they're 40, but right now they know that they're coming out of high school or college even, they're in debt, they're making $18 an hour. They know people who've been in the field for 5 years, they're only making $20, $21 an hour. That's not enough to save and buy a house. It's just not. So young people are recognizing that, what RFK Jr. is doing with his populist message, he is converting young people over to voting for independent. And again, I think there's a lot of young people who don't vote. If they do decide to vote, who are they going to vote for? Very, very likely that they vote for RFK Jr. So, this is very interesting. I kind of thought this might happen, but, we're still a year out. A lot of things could change. Who knows what could happen. RFK Jr. could screw up on a lot of what he says. I don't like his stance on the Israel situation, for example. But I'm not going to defer over to Trump or Biden because of one issue. I still like 90% of what RFK Jr. stands for. And I think a lot of people, now I'm not quite in that age group anymore. I'm 35 now, but even people like from 35 to 50, I bet he's doing pretty well in that age group as well. And if he's not, and even if he is doing well, whether he's doing well or not, he's going to continue to rise, very likely. And yes, the mainstream media is going to try to censor him. They're going to try to slander him. Trump and Biden are both going to attack him. And you watch, those two bastards will probably work together to try to keep him out of the debate too. As much as they hate each other, which I think is all bullshit anyway, I don't really think they hate each other. They pretend to because they're the only enemy. But if a third enemy comes in, they will both work together just like they did in the 90s. I promise you that. And that's what I would completely turn on Donald Trump. All that he said about the Democrats, now you're going to work with them because you're scared of RFK Jr., which you should be. But if RFK Jr. can find a way into that debate, this 38% would likely turn into 40, 45%. His overall popularity, considering that the presidential debates they're a heavily watched event, they get pretty good numbers. If they ever figure out a way to get a good mediator, I think that they would do even better. I think that it would be great if if Joe Rogan did it. Biggest platform in the world, 40 million views. It's better than having the MSNBC or CNN or even Fox do it, because we've seen that before, and the debates kind of suck. They don't. Sometimes they have to ask tough questions, but they show a clear bias. Rogan doesn't show bias. He would ask both candidates or all three candidates very tough questions, and he would hold them accountable for it. Not to mention, he would get even more views. That's better for RFK Jr. So after all this censoring and after all this slandering, if he starts to get, on national TV, continuing to do his podcast tours, and his face is just everywhere, his popularity will grow. And the more his popularity grows, obviously the better chance he has of winning. So this is very interesting. We'll see what happens in the future. We'll see if his numbers go up or down, or where they just kind of flatten out. I personally think they're going to go up. I'd love to know what you guys think in the comment sections. Do you think his numbers will continue to rise? Do you think he'll flatten out? Do you think he'll do something to mess it up and kind of flatline and lose all of his support? I'd definitely love to hear what you guys think, so definitely let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back shortly with another video.